It has been said that words can move mountains. Hi everyone, Ken here. Welcome to This House. Today we are exploring the home of poet Anne Spencer. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a fascinating episode of This House. In 1882, Anne was born to the first free generation of her family. Both of her parents had been slaves, and after abolition, they separated. Her mother, Louise, took Anne to live with her in Bromswell, Virginia, where she gave Anne the childhood she never had. Anne was allowed to run around and play, completely carefree, not even attending school. While this brought her mother joy, her father, Joel, wanted to see his daughter get the education he was never allowed to pursue. Initially, Louise protested this idea, but compromised with Joel, agreeing to send her to the Virginia Seminary to get a Christian education. At 11 years old, she entered school completely illiterate, but by the time she graduated, she had earned the title of valedictorian. Anne returned to Bromwell to begin her career as a teacher, marrying her former classmate, Charles Edward Spencer, in 1901. 2 years later, the couple moved to Lynchburg, Virginia, to build their dream home and start their family. Anne's golden childhood began to fade as she was faced with the reality of post-abolition society in the South. She saw injustice, prejudice, and outright ignorance in the way her family was treated and wanted her children to grow up in an unsegregated world where they could freely express themselves. She began writing her thoughts and observations down on paper, turning the dim reality of society into beautiful poetry. Through her contemplation, she decided that she would be a voice for change. Anne reached out to James Weldon Johnson, a leader of the NAACP, to start a chapter of the organization in Lynchburg. Johnson began reading her poetry and found it to not only be incredibly moving, but inspirational. He had her poems published in the NAACP's magazine, The Crisis. Even though she lived in Virginia, her poems were being read by leaders of the civil rights movement in New York City, contributing to the Harlem Renaissance, a rebirth and reorganization of African American culture following the first free generation in American history. Even though she was becoming a prominent voice for equality, and her poems were making her good money, she and Charles continued to live in the home they had built, making modifications and upgrading it as time went on. The parlor was arranged with a piano set below a gilded mirror, allowing music to flow freely, as Anne entertained guests such as Martin Luther King Jr. for deep, inspiring conversations. The dining room was the project of Charles, who believed in reusing materials and wasting nothing. He assembled the room with architectural salvage, including copper panels crafted into wainscoting, which was being thrown away in town. As their kids moved out, they converted a porch into their sunroom, adapting for modern technology, where the couple could watch television from their overstuffed armchairs cozied up to the fireplace. In line with Charles' philosophy of reusing and recycling materials, he repurposed the former porch's trellis to act as a garden gate in the backyard, where Anne's private studio served as a quiet retreat where she could connect with her thoughts and nature. While looking out the window into her garden, she wrote, "God never planted a garden," one of her most famous poems. God never planted a garden, but he placed a keeper there, and the keeper ever raised the ground and built a city where God cannot walk at the eve of the day, nor take the morning air. Anne enjoyed her house for the rest of her life, outliving Charles and passing away at the age of 93 years old in 1975. Today, her legacy is continued by the Anne Spencer House and Garden Museum, which is open to the public seasonally. What are your thoughts on the Anne Spencer House? Let me know down below in the comments section. And while you're there, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode of This House. I would also like to take a moment to say a very special thank you to our This House supporters whose names you can see on screen right now. If you would like to see your name on this screen and contribute in part to the production of these videos, join our membership program today. I'll see you next time on This House.